Yeah. So they put it on Tayeb B'Torato yesterday, so they're putting our shir on the Olami. Everybody has a Gemara? Baruch haba Mikan Dayan, Mazel Tov and the baby. Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. Baby boy, first boy. Baruch haba Rabbi Yonatan Nisim ben Mesod, Chaim Tovim Arokim. We're very happy. We're very happy when you come in. We feel the tzaddikim come in with you.
Yeah, we feel good.
Feel the tzaddikim come in. The tzaddikim are melaveh otcha. And it's not a joke. It's not a joke. We're excited for the roster this year. I hope we're going to get the invitation.
Next week, no?
What do we have coming up?
Next week, Wednesday night.
And B'ezrat Hashem, people start thinking of two things: Yakei Kala in Jerusalem, February, and Uman Chanukah. B'ezrat Hashem. Listen, we're on the. Where are we holding? Nun Bet Amoud Bet.
Nun Bet
Bet
Amoud
Amoud. Aleph. Okay, good morning. Masechet Pesachim, Nun Bet. You were taping the whole thing over there?
Oh, you start over?
Ah, that's okay. Whatever. Okay.
Commercial.
Okay. So what did we say in our Mishnah? We said in our Mishnah that if you have fruits of Shvit, fruits of Shemitah, and obviously the fruits of Shemitah cannot be eaten. What's the rules of Shemitah? We said that it's hefker, it's open, anybody's allowed to go eat it. However, and you can even take for yourself extra, take a doggy bag, take with you, take a lunch bag, put in your house. You're allowed to do that. But once there's no more food in the city, you got to put it back. Meaning it has to be free for all. You can't stock up. You can take so long as there's available for everybody. If there's not available for everybody, you got to go put it back. That's what we said yesterday.
In the city or in your field?
We're going to discuss that today, okay? In the city, and actually in the region. There are 3 regions we're going to speak about today. How does this work? Each region is independent, and there are 3 cities in each region, okay? So now, then we said an interesting that Rabbi Yehuda said, no, go and bring for yourself. That's all he said. We didn't understand what it means. And one more thing is that if you go to a place, what do we say? If you go to a place, from one place you go to another place, and we give you the chumot of both places. So if there's no fruits in Jerusalem, and you go to Beersheba, and there's fruits in Beersheba, you can't take the fruits of Jerusalem, because there's no more fruits in Jerusalem. And the opposite, if you go to Jerusalem and there are fruits, and you're starting eating the shvit fruits in Beersheba, and there's nothing there, you can't do that as well. That's what Tanna Kama said. And Rabbi Yehuda, said an ambiguous statement that go and take for yourself. We don't know what it means. We know Rabbi Yehuda is being machmir, and then we said yesterday, what are we talking about? You're in Jerusalem. There are fruits in Jerusalem. You take a truckload of shvit fruits and you bring them to Beersheba. You get to Beersheba, you realize nothing is there. There are no shvit fruits. So what do? You quickly turn around the car and you go back to Jerusalem and says over here, Tanakama, you're good to go. Because at the end of the day, you didn't use the fruits in Beersheba. So what would be the problem? You start eating the fruits in Beersheba, the fruits of Jerusalem. The problem will be that people are going to see you eating shvit fruits, and there's nothing available for them. So we give you a problem. So he turns the truck around, he goes back to Jerusalem, and therefore in Jerusalem he's good to go. And on that, Rabbi Yehuda said, no, go and bring the fruits. Go and bring what fruits? Go and bring the fruits from Beersheba. You went to Beersheba, there's no fruits in Beersheba, so therefore you are stuck. That's what we said yesterday. So again, you guys got the case? We're saying that you go from Jerusalem to Beersheba, there are tons of fruits in Jerusalem, you bring to Beersheba, you get to Beersheba, there's nothing left, you turn back and you go to Jerusalem, you gotta, according to Tanakama, you can keep all your fruits. According to Rabbi Yehuda, you gotta empty out all the fruits and put them away. And on that, the Gemara says, Amar Abaye. Now the Gemara says, Mat Kifla, bottom of the page, Nun Bet, Amoud Aleph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It says Matkif. Matkif la Rav Ashi. The Rabbi Yehuda. Atu agaba de chamra katninehu. 1 second. Is it the back of the chamor that made them now part of Beersheba? You brought them from Jerusalem, and you just came into the vicinity of Beersheba. Now is it your truck? Is it your hamor? Is it your hamor that's now making?
No, on that page.
Nun Bet Amoud Aleph. Nun Bet Amoud Aleph.
Turn the page.
First word of the line is Matkiv. Towards the bottom of the page. Matkiv Rav Ashi Rabbi Yehuda. Atu agaba de chamra katninehu. Could it be the back of the chamor that causes it to be now part of Beersheba? What does that mean? How in the world that bringing my truck into Beersheba makes these fruits Beersheba? They're not Beersheba fruits. They are Jerusalem fruits. Why in the world would, if I bring them in for 1 second, they now become status of Beersheba? That can't be the pshat. And Amar Rabashi bepelukta dehane tanae. Really, Tanakam and Rabbi Yehuda are talking about the machlok of the Tanaim that we saw before. Hakovesh shlosha kivashin bechavit echad. You're making now marinated variant. You know the variant. So what do you have in there? You have some carrots. What else do you have in there? You have some cauliflower and some celery. You have 3 things. So now you put everything in the vinegar, and now you leave it over there, and it becomes. Is it 1 thing? Is it 3 things? In other words, what happens if? So you have carrot. You have a big variant. You have marinated vegetables, and you have carrots over there. You're eating the carrots. Now, all of a sudden, you're eating cauliflower as well. There's no more cauliflower in the street, in the city. So what do we look? Can I still eat the carrots? Can I still eat the celery? Or is it all one big thing? So Rabbi Eliezer Omer, Ochnin al harishon. When there's no more cauliflower in the city, you can't even eat the carrots. Why can't you eat the carrots? Because it became one thing. It's one element now. It's all considered cauliflower. Since you pickled it with the cauliflower, since you marinated it with the cauliflower, so now the carrots and the cauliflower are one entity. So if there's no more carrots in the city, you can't even eat more. There's no more cauliflower in the city, you can't eat the carrots because they're all one thing.
So
now,
in tavshil, like in a pot, mixed vegetables with meat. So that also?
Well, we're talking about here about shvit. You understand?
No, it's the same thing, same concept. So if I eat the potato, I can eat the carrots and the same concept?
Well, there it's obviously separate things. So each one will be independent. Here, they were marinated to the point they become one entity. You understand? Cooking them together has become one entity.
Also, but the kivisha is like a bishul.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Here it's talking about kivisha because you have a lot of them. If it's talking about 1 potato, get away with 1 potato. But we're talking about, what are you talking about, Mordechai? You have 100 potatoes in your storage, and you made 1 potato with your carrots. There's no more carrots. There's no more potatoes, and there was carrots. Okay, this potato maybe, but all the rest of the potatoes you're gonna have to get them away. Here we're talking about all the carrots, all the cauliflower, all the cucumbers in one big barrel. So now what do we do? So it says according to Rabbi Eliezer, no more cauliflower. You're not eating carrots anymore.
There's a note that says since each species has absorbed the flavor of the other 2, the crust.
Exactly right. The flavor. So it's the same thing with cooking.
And his point
is it not? The flavor has been absorbed in everything. Rabbi Shomer afar acharon. Rabbi Shua says no. So long, it's the opposite. Why are you saying they're all cauliflower? They're all carrots. So you can even eat the cauliflower. It's the same thing. I'm going to tell you they're all cauliflower. Why did you pick the cauliflower? Pick the carrots. Meaning, I'm going to go with the lenient one. Min hasadeh. רבן גמליאל מכל שקנה מינו מן השדה יבאר, מינו מהבית והלכה כדבריו. And Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Gamliel says no. If there's no more carrots, stop eating carrots. Take out all the carrots. No more cauliflower, stop eating. If there's still each item is separate. So what does that have to do with our Mishnah? So now we go back to our Mishnah and we say that Rabbi Yehuda, Tanakam is going like the lenient opinion, and Rabbi Yehuda was going with the strict opinion. When Tanakama said what we're speaking about, and what did Rabbi Yehuda answer on Tanakama, we're talking about this exact case. There is marinated, pickled vegetables, and there is no more, for example, cauliflower. So Tanakama says, okay, you can even continue to the cauliflower, because since there's still carrots, so we're considering a carrot. And Rabbi Yehuda is going to say, no, go and bring it. What did he say? Bring yourself as well. Bring yourself cauliflower. There's no more cauliflower, so you can't eat anymore the cauliflower, and actually you can't eat more the carrot. That was one way of looking at it. Ravina says another way. The machloket was this. Bepelukta dehane tane detnan. Ochlin betmarim ad shikra haron betzoar. So now you live in the Galil. In the Galil, there's a lot of dates, and you're allowed to eat in the whole region. There's 3 cities over there, and so long as your region, it's like Kotziluk, Hampstead, and Westbury. Okay, so long as there's still dates in Kotziluk, even in Westbury, they can still eat dates. Meaning, there was dates in all 3 places: Westbury, Hampstead, and Kotziluk. Each guy had fruits that were shvit. Everybody took in their house dates. Now there's no more dates available left in Hampstead. There's none left in the fields, but there is still available in Kotziluk. Well, you can still eat the ones that you stored in Hampstead, so long as they're still in Kotziluk, because it's one big area. Now, what about if that is what it says over here. Ad shikrei acharon shebetzoar. So long as there's some dates left in Kotziluk, you can still eat anywhere you are. Huh?
They're from Kotziluk?
In a region. Okay, we're considering this one region. Huh?
They're from Kotziluk, the fruits. That's
Yeah. No. Let's say I'm in Hampstead. I stored up a lot. No, there's no more
From
left in
Hampstead or
Hampstead.
from Kutzon?
From Hampstead. There's no more left in Hampstead, but there's still in Kutzon. I can continue because it's one region. However, Rashba Gomer, we turn the page, Ochlin al ben akifin, ve'nochlin al ben ashitzin. Did you know that the palm tree has a few different placements in it? The bottom has very, very prickly thorns. And I guess that's like Hashem made it so that the animals are not going to climb up and eat all the dates. Amazing. Hashem put inside, we want the dates for the people. Now, if you have all very pricks over there, and it's so the dates fall, the animals are going to climb up. But sometimes the dates fall, so they can either fall into the bottom place where it's very prickly and very hard to get them, to remove them. And there's a little higher area where it's actually the lulavim. The lulav that we have, those are like the branches of the palm tree, and they fall over there as well. There you can actually easily get them. So according to Rabban Gamliel, if you are allowed to still eat the fruits in your house, so long as the dates are available somewhere, even there's one date left in the whole vicinity that is in the accessible place, which is the branches. But if the dates are in the prickly part on the bottom, the thorns, you have to stop eating them, because nobody can go get them. It's like there's nothing left. So what is the machloket between Tanakama and over here Rabban Shimon Gamliel? If there's still dates available, Tanakama says there's still dates available, eat them, even if they're the prickly place. Yeah, there's still dates available. If you really wanted to, you could go there and maneuver and cut and slowly get a date. It's going to take you 10 minutes, but you could actually get a date. And Rabban Shimon Gamliel says, no. If you're not easily accessible, you can't eat them. That's the machlokes between Tanakama and Rabbi Yehuda. And so that means Tanakama says, so long as there's any dates available, even if it takes a little bit of efforts to get them, you can still eat the dates that are stored in your house. And Rabban Shimon Gamliel goes like Rabbi Yehuda goes like him. No, if there are dates available in an easy way, you can still eat the ones in your house. But if they're accessible in only a difficult way, you're not allowed to eat them in your house.
What's the measure of still left? How many is still?
Even one. Even one.
Left?
Even one is available. Tananatam. Shalosh arzot libiu. Yehuda, Be'er, and Galil. Eretz Yisrael is divided in three different communities. There is Yehuda, which is Jerusalem, Beersheba, central Eretz Yisrael, more towards the south. Ve'ever Yarden, on the other side of the Jordan, which was Menashe and Gad and all that. It was part of Eretz Yisrael as well, but it's on the other side of the Jordan. And you have the Galil, the north. These are three different regions in terms of biur of Shvit. V'shalosh arzot b'kol echad. And there are three different cities in each one. So imagine you have in the north, you have Meron, Sfat, and Tiberia. And imagine you have in the middle, you have Yerushalayim, you have what's near Tel Aviv, and you have what's it called, Bet Shemesh, whatever you want. So those are three areas, and these are theirs. And on the Yarden, you have three areas as well. The Gemara says, "What? 1 second. If there's three or there's 9, what is there?" So the answer is, so meaning, like I told you before, if there are no more dates, there are no more fruits in Sfat, but they're still in Tiberia, I can still eat the ones in Sfat because they're still available in Tiberia. But if there's nothing left in Tiberia, Meron, and Sfat, I can't eat because there are fruits left in Jerusalem. So there are three regions. So each one, even though there's a leniency and a stringency. The leniency is you can still eat if one of the neighboring cities still has, but not if another region has. And the Gemara says, how do we know that's true? So the Gemara says, how do we know this halacha? Amar Rav Chama bar Ukva Amar Biyosi bar Chanina Amar Kra ulebehemtecha ulechaya asher be'artzecha. So the halacha says, what are the fruits of Shvit for? They are for your animal. Behema is domesticated. Animal that will stay in the farm. Animal will stay in your house. They're allowed to eat the fruits. And likewise, the wild animal, for example, a deer or an animal that's running around and not domesticated. A rabbit is not domesticated. So those animals, they're going to be for both of the animals. So the Gemara says, Asher be'artzecha, in your land. What's artzecha? Is it the whole Eretz Yisrael? No, we're mimayet over here. Kol zman shechaya uchelet min hasadeh, so long as they have wild animals eating in the field, you can give to the animal that is in your barn. Now the animal outside, the wild animal can't eat. You can't feed your animal which is in your house. And we have a tradition. The animal of Jerusalem will not go get food in the Galil. And the one in the north will not go to the south. In other words, that let's say you have a cat, okay? You have some animal, and there's no more food in Sfat. He's able to go all the way to Veria to eat. If he needs to, there's no more food. But he's not going to go to Jerusalem. He'll find something else. And the one in Jerusalem, because that's too far for an animal. Too far. You have a deer. Okay, he runs fast. He's going to go. Where's he going to eat? He's going to eat. They have wild pigs over there in Meron, in the forest over there. You got to be careful sometimes. Yeah, they have wild pigs, like boars, like out of hogs. So how far are they going to go to eat? They could go within the same region, even a little far. So that means since that's the drash over here, since a wild animal could eat in the vicinity, I can give them animals.
on that.
That's the halakha. So therefore, we are basing on the regions. There are 3 different regions. The Gemara says, Tanu Rabbanan, Perot shatzu meretz Yisrael, b'chutz ha'aretz, mitba'erim b'kol makom shen. So now imagine you took dates with you, took wine with you from Eretz Yisrael, and you went to Syria. You went to Syria. You went to Lebanon. So now you're outside Eretz Yisrael. But now you find out that in Eretz Yisrael, there's no more fruits. So now you have shvius fruits. What do? Are you allowed to get rid of it? You got to dispose of it. You got to make it hefker. Where do you do that? Wherever you are. Tanakama says, Rashba Omer, Rabban Shimon ben Yazar Omer, Yachzeru limkoman. Vidbaeru. Mishum shenemar be'artzecha. No, you got to go back to Israel and make them hefker in Israel. You're going to go back to the community in Jerusalem and give them over there. You know why? The pasuk says shenemar be'artzecha, because the pasuk says the fruits are for you be'artzecha, not asher be'artzecha, not in chutz la'aretz. The Gemara says hafkite.
You have to go back to Eretz to what?
Make them hefker. To make them hefker, to do the biur. The biur is machlok with this, but we're going with the shita that says it's hefker. Some say you have to actually destroy them. So you got to go back to Eretz Yisrael to make them hefker. And why is that? Because the pasuk says the fruits are for the people or for the animals. Be'artzecha. The Gemara says 1 second. You already used be'artzecha for a different limud. You already used artzecha to limit to make 3 different regions. How are you using it again for another limud? So the Gemara says, Ha'afkite kareb be'aretz. No, because the Torah could have said be'aretz. It's for the animals. Hayan de be'emtecha ba'aretz. Why did it say be'artzecha? It means 2 things. There are 2 limudim to take out. One is to learn out the 3 different regions. One to learn to bring. You got to bring it back to Eretz Yisrael to do the real. Inami asher be'artzecha. Another way of learning it is the pasuk says asher be'artzecha, which is in your land. That word asher is also superfluous. It doesn't need to be there. Rav Safra nafik meretz Yisrael. So now don't forget, the Rabbi Shimon ben Eliezer is a Tana. Rab Safra leaves Eretz Yisrael. Nafak meretz Yisrael. Nechutz ha'aretz. So actually what he did is he had some wine with him, and he's now in chutz ha'aretz, Mitzrayim, or he's in Lebanon, or he's in Iraq. Haba be'adei garba dechamra. He had with him some wine. The shvis. Lavu be'adei Rav Huna bered Ravika. So came with him Rav Huna bered Ravika beRav Kana. So Rav Huna came with him, and Rav Kana, his 2 students are coming with him. So Rav Safra, right? Rav Safra is going and he has 2 students with him. And now he doesn't know what to do. Because according to Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, you got to go back to Eretz Yisrael. Go back, turn around, take your donkey, go back, and what do we do? Amaru, Tanakama doesn't say that. Chachamim say, you don't have to do that. Get rid of it where you are. So he turned to his Talmidim, Amaru, Ika de Shimoni minem di Rabbi Abahu, alachak Rabbi Shimon ben Eliezer lo. You guys are Talmidim of Rabbi Abahu. Rabbi Abahu was a Gaon. Do you guys know what he said? What's the halakha? Do we follow this or we follow this? You never have it. We have 2 opinions. We have like this and we have this. Who do we follow? Do we follow Rav Moshe? Do we follow Ben Ishrai? What do we do? The Maaseh, what do we do?
Who's asking, the Talmud or the Rebbe?
The Rebbe is asking the Talmidim. Because sometimes a Talmud is more expert in something. Look, I know a lot of stuff, but you learned by Rabbi Abahu. Maybe he said who's the halakha here. I know the 2 opinions. Doesn't happen. A Rab doesn't have to know everything. A Rab needs to know how to look up everything. By the way, that's what is a Rab? You expect him to know everything? My father-in-law told me there was a guy in New York after the war. You know, they were Amaritz. So they hired a rabbi. And they saw the rabbi every day after the tefillah, he was learning. After tefillah, he sat down and he learned. He learned a few hours. So they came to him, in New York in 1930s, 40s. It was like really, they had no musagim. So they came to Sindar, we're firing you. He says, why are you firing me? Because we see you learning every day after the tefillah. He says, yeah. He says, no, we want a rabbi that knows his stuff, not that has to learn his stuff. True story! True story!
You don't want to learn on the job.
Meaning, you think the Rab knows everything? Let me look it up. Maybe you come to a doctor. He knows everything. No, but he has the resources to figure it out. So that's a Rab. So even Rav Safra, I need to figure it out. So I'm gonna. So, I know how to dissect the sugya. You learn from Rabbi Abba. Tell me. By the way, many times I've had a chod. I'm not an expert in. I'm not a specialist. Some things I really have it called. Some things I'm less expert. I have a general good idea. I know how to phrase the question. So I call another Rab, a colleague, that's really expert in that. What do you say on this? We have Rabbi Chaim Iman right now. He's an expert in kashrut because he's in the field. He's on the field. He works in the industry. So he knows a lot of things that even if you know the books, you don't know the industry. So you call somebody who knows the industry. Rav Safra asked his Talmidim, you learn by Rabbi Abahu, maybe he's an expert in Shvit. What did he say the halakha was? So they said like this. Amar Rav Kana, Amar Rabbi Abu. So Rav Kana said, yes, our Rebbe said you got to get rid of it. You got to go back. Amar Rav Huna Biredi Rabika, but Rav Huna said no. Achi Amar Rabbi Abu, and Rav Huna said no. You know, our Rebbe said you don't got to go back. So you have two Talmidim telling the rabbi, one halakha like this, one halakha like this. Amar Rav Safra, no kuta declared Rav Huna biyadecha. We're going to go with Rav Huna. Because he was the lenient, but that's not where we're going. Didayek ugmar shmata, because I know him. He is a student that's really, really, really meticulous to details, and I know that he was sure to make sure that he's heard it right. You have a student that's broad knowledge, like he has a lot, but you have some that are very meticulous. He's very meticulous on everything. I'm telling you, that's what it was. So we're going Rav Huna, because you know Rav Huna. Because he's dayak mashmate mipume de rabbe kerachba. Because he learns from his Rebbe like a certain rachba de pumbedita. There was a Tana, there was an Amora Tana. His name was Rachma. It was an Amora Rachma from pumbedita. And him, the Amar Rachma, Amar Rabbi Yehuda, abayit harabayit satyo kaful haya satyo or satav lifnim misatav. So there was a certain rachba. And when he would learn, there was once, Rashi says, there was once a teaching that we weren't sure was the name of Rabbi Yehuda Nesiya or Rabbi Yehuda. There was two Rabbi Yehudas. One was Rabbi Yehuda the Nasi and one was Rabbi Yehuda. So when he said, it was from Rabbi Yehuda. So he was very midayek in everything. So Rachba was very midayek. And by the way, the teaching that he taught us is in the Beit Mikdash. There was like places to sit. So there was like benches. You know, like a square. We learned in Masechet Eruvin. Square. Like a rectangle of like how do you say, like not a bench, more than a bench, like attached to the ground in a square. In a square, basically two different seating sections in the Beit Mikdash, one inside of the other, like a square inside of a square, and people could sit over there. And he said in the name of Rabbi Yehuda, and he was very midayek. So I know that Rav Huna is also very midayek. So Rav Huna said that Rabbi Abahu said the halakha is not like Rabbi Shimon Rabbi Shimon ben Azar, we don't need to go back to it. He said, we're not going to go back. You understand what happened? What happened to Rabbi Yonatan? So the guy had Shvit wine. Rav Safra had Shvit wine. He left Chutz Da'aretz. Now, there's no more Shvit wine in Eretz Yisrael. Does he need to go back to Eretz Yisrael to get rid of it? Or can he get rid of it where he is? So really, Rabbi Shimon ben Azar says, you got to go back. The thing is the halakha like him or the halakha not like him? He had two Talmidim of Rabbi Abahu. Rav Huna and Rav Kana. Rav Kana and Rav Huna were Talmidim Rabbi Abahu, and Rav Kana said, our Rebbe said you got to go back. And Rav Huna said, our Rebbe said you don't need to go back. Said Rabbi Safra, we're going to go with Rav Huna, because I know he's very meticulous when it comes to remembering every detail from the Rebbe. The Gemara says, Rav Yosef, when he heard that, he said, Ami be'etzav yishar, be'etzo yishar, be'maklo yagido. So here the prophet is actually reprimanding Am Yisrael. They're not asking the Rabbanim. They're doing whatever they want. They're asking their stone, and they're asking a stick, and they're asking their makir. They're asking be'etzo. They're asking really it was avodah zarah. The avodah zarah made out of the stone, out of the tree. They're asking a tree, and they're asking their staff. They're asking their staff. But what's the language it says over here? Ami be'etzo ishan. They're asking piece of wood, umaklo yagidlo, and his maker, his staff will tell him what to do. But he says a drash of there, kona meken lo magidlo, kona maken magidlo. So what is it over there? He's asking Ishan b'maklo yagidlo, maklo yagidlo. His maker tells him. So what's the simple pshat? His maker, his staff, is telling him what to do. But Rabbi Yosef said, no, whoever is lenient, he's going to do what he says. You have two rabbis. Kona maken yagidlo. Anybody who's maken, we're going to take from him the pshat. You know the guy? Somebody called me this week for halakha. He said he called me a very strict halakha, like something you don't play around with. Very, very serious. And he said, you're not a. He told me a city. I don't want to say what city. He said, you're not a rabbi from that city. I said, why? Because there I can call right away. They're going to give me the kula. You're making me problems. I said, so call over there. What can I tell you? You're calling Breslev. You're calling me. I can't tell you. Some rabbis. So people are looking. Who's going to be meken? They have a lot of rabbis, and which in each subject they know which rabbi is going to be meken and calls that rabbi. That's not the way it works. Meaning obviously it's not true. Rav Safra, he went with Rav Huna because Rav Huna knew his stuff. But Rav Yosef said he's going with him because he's lenient. Now, what's the difference? We're going to have to drive back 10 hours to Eretz Yisrael to get rid of the wine. We're going to go with the lenient opinion. I'm not saying there's not room for that. There is room for that. Sometimes there is two opinions, and really you should be machmir. Because of the situation, you're allowed to be lenient. But you need a rab to choose, and not that you should call the rab that's going to be lenient. Something. Okay. The Gemara says, Rabbi Eliai katz kafniata de shvit. So you know that when it comes to shvit, you're allowed to take it and eat it. But what has happened? Rabbi Eli, he cut down a branch of kafniata. It's a non-ripened, non-mature date, this shvit. And what he did is he used it for like wood. So he's chopping down branches. He's using the wood of the palm tree. But actually it turns out that he's ruining this little fruit. This little fruit, which is not ripened, he's actually ending up throwing in the garbage. So the Gemara says, how did he do that? You're allowed to eat the things that are shvit, but you're not to ruin them. If you ever get a bottle of wine from shvit wine, you ever happened to you? Sometimes you got to be very careful. You go to buy wine and they're selling what's albidin, it's written shvit over there. It's on cheap, it's on special. You know what's on special? Because it's shvit. So we're only selling you based on the transportation or whatever it is. So, but you can't ruin that wine. You got to drink every last drop. In Israel, it's very serious. They have sometimes fruits and vegetables. You got to eat the end of the avocado, or you got to let it rot. You got to put it in a place until it rots. You can't throw it in the garbage until it rots. So here too, you can't ruin shvit. You're allowed to eat it, but you can't ruin it. So how is Rabbi Eli cutting down branches and he's ruining the fruit of the dates? That's what the Gemara says. Well, maybe you're going to tell me. Maybe you're going to tell. Let's read it again. Lachla leochla amar Rabbanan velo le'efset v'kitema nimide echad denachit lepira. Maybe if it is only a fruit, but if it's not a fruit, like Johnny's saying, it's not a fruit yet. It is still just in right. Nobody's gonna eat that. Yeah, but that's not true because we know Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rabba Ravua, Hanimat Chele de Orla Asire. So you know, Orla is first 3 years. Fruit is off limits, right? First 3 years of fruit is not allowed to be eaten. It is asu. You're not allowed to eat it. The first 3 years, it's ona. It's very serious. Now, what about the matchele? Matchele is not a fruit. It's like a little bit of a klipa protecting the fruit, like a shell. It's like a shell, a husk. What does it say over there? A husk. You have matchele de ona. So it's the first 3 years of a matchele, which is protecting a date. But it's orna. Is it asur? Yes, we consider it orna. Off limits. You can't do anything with it. Maybe some people want to take today peels of oranges and use them for cakes and stuff like that. You're not allowed to do that with this peel, with this husk of this date. Asiri. Huid min asu shomer nepri. It is part of the fruit because it is protecting the fruit. Bishmor nepri ematave. 1 second. When you get a date, is there a protective husk? There's no protective husk. There's only protective husk on a date. Bekufre. It's only when it's small. Only when it's immature there is the protective husk. Bekakare pire. So we're calling the husk of a non-ripened date a fruit. So you see that it's a fruit. So if it's a fruit for Ola, it's also a fruit for Shvit. So now the small fruit is considered a fruit. How are you allowed to cut down the pieces of wood and ruin this little fruit? So the answer is Rab Nachman, Damar ke Rabbi Yossi. Detan, Rabbi Yossi omer smadar. Asu mipnei shupri. Upri grabanan aleh. Smadar is a little tiny non-ripened grape. A budding grape. So that, is it asu for Shvit? Rabbi Yossi says yes. Tanakama says no. So really it's a machloket in the Tanaim. When it comes already to the small grapes, we have a machloket. Tanakama says they're not shvit, and Rabbi Yossi says they are shvit. Rab Nachman So Rav Nachman says that the same thing with the shell of the non-ripened date, and that's why it's asur. But we don't follow like that, seemingly, and that's why Rabbi Alai was not to ruin it. So therefore, we have Rabbi Yossi who's machmir on non-ripened fruits. Rav Nachman goes with him, and Talmud Kama doesn't go like that. Chachamim say non-ripened fruits are not shvit, and that's what the Gemara says here. There's a question on that. We'll see it tomorrow. Chazak.